B.Sc Pratibha College of Commerce and Computer Studies organizes a course on web framework. Web designing is brain power made visible. With this, I, Professor Sarika Jadhav from Department of Computer Science, welcome you to the course Web Framework. We have come up with the objectives to know what developers have learned over the past 20 years while programming sites and applications for the web, to reveal the insights into recent trends and technologies being used to build large-scale and high-performance web applications by keeping them as easy to maintain. And also, the objective of the course is to understand web developer to know robust web applications for PC and as well as web devices. After completion of this course, you will be able to understand basic concepts of web frameworks being used in building quality, robust and dynamic web applications. Also, you will learn which framework to choose that fulfills all your requirements to develop an application at least 10 times faster with new web frameworks technology than a typical earliest framework. Here we are going to learn what is web framework, why web frameworks, its functionality, architecture of web framework, types of web frameworks, and most popular web frameworks for web applications. What are the takeaways? And after the at the end, we'll take answer and question and answer session. Let's have a look on what is web framework. It is referred as web application frameworks or also software network framework, and there are tools that make web applications development easier. So these tools or softwares are known as web app frameworks. A web framework is like the support beams of a house. It provides a structure or template for the web app along with sources, then services and applications. It provides support for the APIs to design the API. So here we can define it as web framework. It is a piece of software that offers a way to create or to develop and run web application, which is designed to support the development of web applications such as web services, web resources, and web application programming interfaces. It also supports the development of dynamic sites, web services, and web applications. Which is used to publish web applications and websites. Okay, so in other words, we can say that web frameworks are software frameworks that offer a standard and accessible way to build and develop web applications. So also we can say that these softwares allows a code library and make web development quicker and easier by giving basic patterns for building reliable, scalable, and maintainable web applications. Okay, so if I take an example of a server-side web framework, that is Node.js. Node.js is popular with to build fast and scalable network applications. So it is one of the framework which is known as server-side JavaScript framework, which provides more than 90,000 models to develop web apps. So like the model HTTP, which can be used in Node.js. So once we import in Node.js while designing the web application, it enables us to handle request and response objects. Also, it is used to manipulate the file data using the file model. Okay, so now here, let's see why are web application frameworks useful? What are its uses? So here we look into what constitutes a web application framework and why you need it. Well, so as I said rightly, we have taken one example of Node.js. So now let's elaborate some points. What is the usefulness of web frameworks? So you may have written a code If you are a web developer, you may have written a code to handle data validation for your web application. So in order to prevent uh, having to rewrite that code from scratch each and every time you make a website or a web service, the web framework does it for you. Okay, so that is the use of web framework. So as here mentioned, it acts as a support system for the development and deployment of the applications. For example, let's see uh, here. It creates shortcuts while writing the source code. It creates shortcuts. It reduces your task to write repetitive code and helps us to streamline and speed up your process. So this wave frameworks, it reduces time and energy in developing any app because developer doesn't need to worry about the data sanitization, session handling, error handling, and also the authentication logic. So it allows designers and developers to focus on building an unique feature for their web-based projects rather than reinventing by coding. Also, they are equipped with fascinating features such as templates, middlewares, session management. Also, it provides a database access libraries as well. Okay. Now, after this, let's shed more light on web frameworks by discussing its functionality. So, as a web framework is used with most online systems to organize and structure your code by huge security implementations. So it supports URL mapping, it provides efficiency. Also, there are a few important points. Let's have a glance on that URL mapping. Since URL mapping enables access to our websites, websites URLs, so it helps greatly in simplifying the indexing of our websites by creating a clear and attractive site names. The URL mapping feature is one of the valuable feature of the web framework. Here, as I mentioned, here is efficiency. As we said rightly, development with web framework is easier and faster because using it's a pre-built functionality, pre-built functions of web applications frameworks, you can save time and efforts equipped to write hundreds of lines of code you would have to write otherwise. Now the next functionality is cost. As most of the well-known frameworks are open source and hence free of cost, it helps the developer to code faster with reducing the final cost of the project, your web application or your website. Okay. And last one is security and support. Actually, it has a big community support and comes with thorough documentation to resolve the queries while coding or bringing new versions of web frameworks. Also, it has a large community forum where we can find our answers to our questions. If you are a web developer, if you have any kind of query, you can uh, get your answers from this kind of forums. So any vulnerability or any security flaws found can be reported there. Okay, so these are some of the functions provided by the web frameworks. Now here, let's see how does it work, how web application framework works. What is the architecture of web application framework? So as you can see here in the diagram, it follows MVC or it follows MVT. So what is this MVT? MVT means this is the model view controller architecture. It provides model view controller architecture. So the traditional software design patterns works in an input process output pattern. Input, process, and output pattern. But here nowadays, every framework supports MVC architecture, which works through controller, model, and view approach. So this MVC, it is abbreviated as Model View Controller, is a specific, had specific design patterns created for developing web applications. So it has three major parts, and it works by considering some aspects. And these aspects are, as here mentioned, UI logic, input logic, and business logic. Now, what is that? So, according to this model, as shown in the diagram, so according to this model, each element needs to exist in an application, but not tightly connected or interlinked. All these elements, all these models, controller views, or we can say the program's logic, or the input provided by the user. So all these elements needs to be exist in the application, but all these are not tightly connected. These are not interlinked. So the UI logic, this UI, user interface logic, it deals with the view. View means your program's logic. Okay, your business logic, which you are going to add your in your one of the file. If we take an example of Django framework, so here while implementing this MVC in Django framework, whenever we create a project, so automatically it will create view.py file. Okay, so in that file you have to add your own logic. So that logic is known as the view. Okay, so here the UI logic deals with the view or front end of the application where it provides the user interface, and the input logic deals with the controller as shown in the diagram. Showed in the diagram, the input logic deals with the controller, and lastly the business logic deals with the model of an application. Okay, but there is a loose coupling between these aspects, or we can say elements. So these loosely coupled elements helps developer handle development complication when building any application. It helps users, enables and focus on one specific element of the implementation at a time. Okay, so now here let us discuss the three components of MVC by considering the example of Django framework, because this Django framework also follows MVC structure. So here controller, let's see what is this controller, what it does. The controller is in between the model and the view. Okay, so it plays a crucial role in between the model and the view element. It listens to all the incident and actions triggered. Okay, so it listens all the actions triggered in the view and it performs an appropriate response back to the events. So while developing application in Django, we need to create user interface through templates where logic is written in view.py file and code is fetched to the template. Okay, so as Django framework provides Python, so here in Python, we are going to create or define some functions, and your logic will be added to the functions. Okay, so now let's see what is a model. So model encloses the clean application related data. Okay, but the model does not deal with any logic. Just here in model, what we do here, we here create our database connections. We write the code for the database connectivity where the records can be inserted to the table, where the records can be updated, but that kind of code that we need to fetch through some attributes, and that attributes, the relevant code should be added to the model.py file. Okay, so model that encloses the clean application related data. It encloses the data. Okay, so it does not deal with the program's logic, the business logic about how to present the data. Okay, now the next one is what? View. The web view. View. The view element is used for presenting the data of the model to the user. Here the business logic can be added by defining the Python functions. In case of Django, this element deals with how to link up with the model's data, but doesn't provide any logic regarding what this data all about or how user can use these data. Now let's take a look on types of web frameworks. So we have two functions of frameworks. First one, the one to work on the server side, that helps to set up app logic on the server, that is backend server, backend side. And second one is to work on the client side, that is front end. So we have two functions of web frameworks. First one backend, second one is front end. So these frameworks are known as server-side frameworks and client-side frameworks. The front-end frameworks mostly manage the external part of the website, which deals with the static part of the forms. That is, what the user enters and when they open the application. Whereas the backend manages the server-side scripts, that is the internal part of the application. Okay, now let's see client-side frameworks. Client-side frameworks don't take care of the business logic like the server-side ones. They function inside the browser, and every client-side framework varies in functionality and its use. So here are some client-side frameworks which uses JavaScript as their programming language, like React.js, Ember.js, AngularJS, Vue.js. All these are some of the examples of client-side frameworks. Now, on the other hand, server-side frameworks. So, server-side frameworks, it permits you to create scripts like code for pages, including your validating forms, verifying forms parameter with databases, and so on. So it enables to create a web application with a well-developed interface. You need a wider range of functionality, okay? And that functionality is gained through server-side frameworks. The server-side frameworks handle HTTP request, database control, and management. Also, we can say it manages URL mapping and many more. Okay, so these frameworks can improve security and form the output data, simplifying the development process. So here, some of the top server-side frameworks are mentioned: Django, Ruby on Rails, Express, okay? The Net, which take a base of C# language. So here, now let's shed some light on best backend web development frameworks and front-end frameworks. So the topmost web development frameworks of year 2020 are: for front-end frameworks, the front-end frameworks are React.js, AngularJS, Ember.js, Backbone.js, and backend frameworks are Django, Flask, Ruby on Rails, Node.js, and Laravel. Now, let's learn more about React.js. So React.js, it is created by Facebook in 2013. And it is a JavaScript framework, and it has gained popularity in capturing a significant share in the mobile market. Okay, so with the release of cross-platform mobile development framework and in web app industry as well. Okay, so these are some of the features here mentioned. Like it enhances speed and performance of your web application. It provides unidirectional data binding. Also, it provides virtual document object model. So it is highly compatible with the vast libraries. So code becomes very easier and simpler to implement. It also provides the stable code. So it provides the reusability concept. Here I have given some of the popular web applications which has developed using React.js framework. Tesla, Netflix, then Code Academy, Facebook. All these are popular websites developed using React.js. Now let's shed more light on the front-end web framework, that is AngularJS. The next one is AngularJS, which was introduced in 2010 by Google. Angular came into the fame, grabbing the attention of big industries with the latest update of Angular 10 in August 2020. It is also considered as one of the top web framework for the front end. So let's have a glance at the features it offers, which lead to high web page performances. Like here, it offers great flexibility. Also, it is a two-way data binding. So here we use some directives to write the code for the web application. So it provides ease in maintaining. So maintenance cost is very less as it is the front end framework. Only using your HTML script, you can write the code. So it provides the dependency injection. It is TypeScript based as it take a base of JavaScript. The AngularJS code can be implemented using the JavaScript with its own functionality, with its own syntax. Okay. Also, it provides high performance for single page tabs. So here, some popular web applications which has been deployed or developed with the AngularJS, that is Upwork, The Guardian, Forbes, Freelancer, PayPal, then IBM. All these are examples of the AngularJS. Okay, now the next, take a look at some of the backend web frameworks and why the Node.js is known as one of the best web development framework. Because it is popular as a server-side web frameworks. Now, see, it has gained popularity through its outstanding performance to build scalable network programs. So, PayPal, Netflix, Medium, LinkedIn, Walmart, Yahoo, Uber, and many more web applications are there. So all these websites and applications are some of the popular brands that are developed using the Node.js framework. So basically this Node.js, it is not a web framework and it is also not a language. However, it provides runtime environment for the JavaScript. It is JavaScript running on server side. We can say it is the JavaScript running server side. Because as JavaScript, it is a front end, but along with the Node.js, we can design the backend applications, server side web applications. So Node.js, it is also known as the JavaScript running on server side. So Node.js has an ability to run multiple processes concurrently on a single thread. It doesn't support multi-thread. It uses single thread to execute multiple processes concurrently. So Uh, it uses event loops. It provides some classes. It provides some object which can be used to fire events. So event emitter class is one of the class which is used to execute the backend application. So it provides the callback functionality through the event loops. And Node.js is also famous for its non-blocking mode. Now, uh, so here, let's see some of the features of Node.js. So it is a fast processing with robust technology stack. It provides seamless JSON support. That means JavaScript object notations. It provides JSON file where your details of all the objects will be stored. It also provides MVP development. It is simple and easy to use. Then it is event-based model with rich ecosystem. It provides scalability without taking any efforts. We can develop the applications in Node.js because it provides um, um, more than 90,000 of models, as I said rightly. So with the use of that models, we can develop the application using the simpler code. Now, let's have a glance on next web framework, server-side web framework, that is Django framework, Django. Django, it is a Python-based server-side framework, okay, and which is recognized as the best web development framework to develop the back-end web applications. So it provides so much ease in development of complex and data-driven websites. Although at present Python has many its own frameworks, uh, creating highly functional web applications, Django allows programmers to write readable, clean, and maintainable code. So here, as I mentioned, these are the top features of Django, which makes the Django framework the most dominant in backend web development. Uh, it is a standalone web server for development and testing. Also, it stimulates the custom web application development. It has MVC architecture. It follows MVC model view controller or model view template architecture. It is compatible with the all the operating systems, and also it supports all the databases. So also here security is provided. So while designing the templates in Django framework, just by adding the one statement, we can provide the security. So here it enhances the security. Also, it has a huge proactive community, which is very, very important to solve the web developers' upcoming queries. Here, these are the some of the popular website web applications have been uh, developed using Django framework. NASA. So NASA is also adopting the features of Django to develop their applications. Also Firefox, Dropbox, then Instagram, all these, and also YouTube uses the Django framework to design their code. Now, uh, here are some here, let's see. We are at the now we will conclude our session with this. So what we have learned so far, so web application framework simplifies and speeds up the development process significantly. That will help you to create a highly responsive and engaging web apps. So in recent technology, there are multiple tools that make web applications development easier. And depending upon your need, you may choose one web framework that fulfills all your requirements or embed multiple frameworks. So if you want to design backend applications, so Python has begun to show more dominance in recent times, and it is gaining control and beating PHP. As in earlier days, PHP is used to design the web applications, but now using this Python and its various web frameworks, it's gaining control and beating PHP with the enlightenments of Django and the Flask, because Django and Flask, these are the two web frameworks designed in Python. There we need to write the code in Python while designing applications using Django and Flask web framework. But here Laravel has still vital significance and will stay at least for the coming few years. And if we talk about the Ruby on Rails, that is also it also made its place in the list of best backend web development framework. So Laravel, then Ruby, all these are the web frameworks that also gaining the popularity. And along with the machine learning and the AI deliverables, Python can be seen growing exponentially while JavaScript and PHP remained consistent over the period of time, because in AngularJS, React.js, and means the front-end web applications, they uses still JavaScript code to deploy their need. So JavaScript is it is as known as a front-end web development. It is showing no signs of going down in near future. So with their immense capabilities at advancing web and mobile app development, Node.js framework, uh, using this Node.js framework, the developing apps becomes very easier and simpler. That is the effortless. The Node.js is known as the development app, effortless development app. So at the end, we can conclude that with continually evolving technologies and scrutinizing our project, our applications requirement, uh, and resource availability is key in choosing the right framework that delivers the best result. So that's up to you which web frame you can use. So with your web applications need, your resource availability, you can choose the right framework to get the best results. So here are some questions based on our course, and if you could answer these questions, the outcome of course would be quite probable and pursue from the course. Uh, so here are some questions like, what is a web framework? What are the different types of web? Which web frameworks comes under the category of front-end side or server-side framework? So what are the key functions of web frameworks and what are the benefits of using a web frameworks? So uh, if you could answer these questions, the outcome of the course would be quite probable, uh, which you have learned from the course. So at the end, uh, thank you for attending this course. Thank you. Thank you very much.